Okay, let's get started. Let me get my things ready. All right, guys, so we're going to do part 3 because it was the video divided in 2 sections of relations and functions. So remember, you watch this video like if it was the class. So what I write, you write. If I highlight, you highlight. Okay. So in the last video, we covered all the way to skills number 1. Well, we did skill number 1 on Monday, and then on Tuesday. So skill number 2, 3 we did those yesterday with the quick check. Okay, so now we're going to go to skill number 4. Okay, and this one is called using the vertical line test. Okay, so the instruction on this one, so I want you to highlight because these are the skills. So highlighting yellow, this is what you're learning. Okay, you're going to learn to use the vertical line test to determine if you have a function. Okay, so for example, in this first exercise, we're going to do this one right here. It says, I'm going to show you the instruction, I'm going to show you the graph, and what is it that you do with the vertical line test. Okay, so it says use the vertical line test to determine whether the graph, sorry for my handwriting, this here says graph, whether the graph represents a function. Okay, all right, so we have this little graph over here. I think when we were doing the notes, I drew something that looks like this. Okay, so this is an example graph. Now we're not going to draw all the grid lines, of course. We're just going to draw the 2 axes, the y and the x axis. Every time you have a graph, you always represent the y and the x axis. Okay, let me zoom it in a little bit. All right, and here we have a graph that looks kind of like this. It does this and this. Okay, so what you do on the vertical line test, if you see over here, it says if you move an edge of a ruler from left to right, you don't have to write this. Okay, I'm just going to show that I'm showing you this from the textbook. Okay, it says if you move an edge of a ruler from left to right across the graph, keeping the edge vertical. As you do so, you see that the edge of the ruler never intersects the graph in more than one point in any position. Therefore, the graph does represent a function. So they're talking about something about using a ruler like this, okay? Like sliding like this, like I'm sliding the pen, okay? But in practical practices, in simple words, if you draw any vertical line here across the graph. Now remember, this is the graph right here. I'm going to use the green. This is the graph of, okay, that we're using. And let's say you want to write or you want to see if this graph represents a function. You draw a vertical line anywhere, okay? So you can draw it maybe here. This is one line. Now, how many times does it crosses or intersects the graph? It only intersects here once. What if you say, I'm going to draw another line? Just pretend I didn't draw this vertical line. What if I draw a vertical line here? It only intersects the graph here, okay? So we're going to write, instead of writing this explanation right here, we're going to write it in simple words. if a vertical line intersects the graph, at only one point, then the graph represents a function. Okay, so it is a function. So over here we have 3 examples, all right, where we have to use the vertical line test to determine whether each graph represents a function. So we're going to do, immediately after this example, I'm going to do the quick check, okay? The quick check of the of skill number 4. So for the quick check, is like checking what we're talking about. Use the vertical line test. This is the instruction number 1. Use the vertical. Now it is important that we write the instruction because this is what you're going to see in your exercises, in your quizzes, in your tests. Okay. Use the vertical line test to determine whether each graph represents a function. Okay. So I'm going to draw the 3 graphs, okay? So draw the 3 coordinate planes like so. The first one, I'm going to draw the graph. So remember, this is the X and Y axis. Y, X. And on this graph right here, this is what we have for a graph. Okay? This is the graph. I'm going to highlight in green. So if you see this exercise, this is what you're going to draw, okay? You draw the graph, and let's say you draw any vertical line. I'm going to draw a vertical line. Let's say I'm going to draw it here. How many times does the vertical line intersects the graph? It intersects here and here. So based on the explanation, you can only intersect the graph at only one point. Does this one intersect the graph at only one point? No, it does not. So this one we say not a function. All right. The second graph. On the second graph, we have something that looks like a oh my god, I forgot the word. Like a twisted S. No, not like a twisted, but a backwards S. Okay. Oh my god, I forgot the word. All right. It's kind of a S, but like the other way around or upside down. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. So what matters here is that we have this graph that looks kind of like a snake or an upside down S, whatever you want to call it. Okay, if I draw a vertical line here, how many times does the vertical line intersect the graph? It only intersects here. Okay, the axes don't matter. Okay, don't think about the axis. Those don't matter. That's why I'm highlighting the graph in green. So this one intersects only once. So this one is, yes, a function. Or you can just say, yes, it is a function. So what if you have these exercises? You're going to draw them because remember, I'm going to ask you for your work. And then you're going to draw your own vertical line and you're going to answer like we're doing right here. On this other graph, we have this, okay? So this one is kind of we just have to be careful, because if you see over here, we have this point aligned with this point. So I'm going to do that. This point, I'm going to line it over here. And then we have a point over here. This is what we call a plot coordinate plane. And then we have this. With this point, we have another one aligned over here. Okay, we don't have time to do the grid lines, but so if we have this graph over here, if you see this over here, like I said, you don't have to draw all the grid lines. Okay, unfortunately, some of you cannot print the paper. But what if I draw a vertical line here? It crosses at 2 points, so that's what I'm going to do over here. Okay. It crosses at these 2 points. Also, if I draw a vertical line over here, it also crosses at these 2 points. So this is not a function. Not a function. Okay? So this is what you do with a vertical line test. Okay? Now, let me move on to skill number 5. Skill number 5.